Hey YouTube, well this will be part 2 of how to breed leopard geckos, and in this series I'm just going to go very in depth in how to breed leopard geckos and stuff that you should know and consider before and while breeding them. So yeah, so first off I'm going to start with weights. So typically, as the rumor goes, and it is said, it's a good rule, I actually really like the rule, typically you only breed females that are 50 grams or bigger. That's basically it. So a 50+ gram female you breed. The first year is preferable, like let them get a year of age and then you breed them. But some do have ovulations before 1 year of age, like geckos that hatch out in April, they can breed the following season, early in the season. And I'm actually going to show you a gecko like that, that's coming up to that point as well. But technically, for 50 grams, I think it should be a little bit higher than 50. I think it should be like 55, 60. But some geckos do not get bigger than 50 grams in their whole life. So, in that case, with some like smaller leopard geckos, you can breed them if they're smaller. It just depends on the gecko itself, to be honest. I mean, giants are bigger, and you're going to have 80 to 70 gram females or 90 gram females within a year. So yeah, but basically once they hold an ovulum, it shows that they're mature enough to be bred. But again, the weight's a big thing. You want to make sure that your gecko has enough weight, so if it lays 2 fertile eggs, that it will be able to recover from it and gain the weight back. For males, typically males are smaller. You can breed them at lower weights, but then I also heard a rumor about prolapse. If you breed males at a younger age, they can get prolapse. I heard that. I don't know. I'm not doing too much of it. Actually, I bred a lot of my males within a year that I produced or that I raised up. So, I don't know. Yeah, I never had a prolapse, but then again, I'm not breeding on such a huge scale as other big breeders are. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. If you're going to breed a male that's younger, this possibly could happen, and I could see it happening, definitely. But typically, a male 50 grams plus, you'll be good. Males normally get bigger than females in leopard geckos, so technically, a 50 gram male would be fine to breed to some bigger females as well. You can breed smaller males to bigger females and bigger males to smaller females if they're up to weight and if they're up to maturity and stuff like that. And with everything, some are smaller and some are bigger, so you're not really going to know. Yeah, and how I basically do it, I'm going to give you my input, is I go off of weight and I go off of age. So it depends. I'm not going to breed a female that's younger than 6 months old. Female. I wouldn't do that. That's really messed up. I probably wouldn't breed a gecko under like 8. I think 8's what I've done. And I've done it only with geckos that were really big and they had giant lines. And they did fine and they held ovulums. But it depends on the gecko. Some questions that I like to ask with weights is, how is the female or male feeding? Will they be able to put on more weight? Because when they do breed, they will lose weight from stress, from egg laying, and sometimes the males just stop eating because they want to mate with more females. So yeah. Another question is, do you think the female can breed safely? That's a really big question. If you don't feel your female's able to breed safely, and you don't think that she's going to be alright, then don't breed her. I had 2 females that I waited a year to breed. Basically, I could have bred them at the end of a season, end of 2 seasons ago, and I just said, you know what, they aren't quite the weight that I want them to be at or what I want them to be at, and they're still pretty young. I just said no. So that's some things that you got to keep in mind. It's really you really have to be good about it, and you got to take into your animal's health into consideration when you're doing this. And when you're thinking of buying a gecko, you have to always think, even females or males, can I wait a season to breed it? and know that not all the geckos grow as fast as you would like. I've had females grow really, really slow, and actually I'm going to show you a female right now that grew really, really slow, and I waited a year. She wasn't a great feeder. Like, she was good, but she didn't grow fast enough, so I waited. So basically I'm going to weigh her right now. This is the female that I will be breeding in this video. She is a Bell Sunglow female. It really isn't picking up her colors at all. She's really, really light and bright. So, yeah. Anyway, this is her. I got 2 years ago as a little baby, as a 6-gram baby. And now she is ready to breed. She is of weight and of size. She's eating well too. So see, she's 57 grams. She was at 60. She has slowed down because she ovulates. Generally, when leopard geckos ovulate, they stop eating and slow down, and then they lose weight as a result. And then if you breed them, they'll start eating more and putting on more weight. And I feel that she's smaller for a lot of leopard geckos. She's not a very big female. I have way bigger females, but this is understandable for this leopard gecko because I know this gecko wasn't a fast grower, and I know that she's going to be able to breed this season, and she'll probably produce me some really, really nice babies. So yeah, that's pretty much on her. Now I'm going to show you, and you can definitely tell she's ovulating. Right there you can see the ovulum. So I'll go more into that later another day. I have 4 females ovulating right now. Here's a little female that hatched out in, what was it? April. She hatched out 5-23-13. She is a radar. Very pretty female. Now this is a faster grower than the other one. This one's probably weighs more now than that one. So we're actually going to take her out and weigh her. Oh, she weighs about the same, but again, she's younger than the other one. The other one is at least going on a year or 2 old now. So this one definitely has a lot more weight, and this one's definitely a faster grower as a result. I don't believe she's ovulating either. No, she isn't. But yeah, she would be okay to breed right now. I feel like she could definitely handle it, and she's eating really well. But again, I always like to put as much weight on my geckos as possible. And I also heard from breeders that they like keeping their geckos fit, so they don't want them to get too overweight. And I do agree that well, I don't know. I always want to have a fatter gecko because if it ever got sick, it has fat on its tail to live off of for a while. I don't know. I'm not them. I don't see it as much as bigger breeders, but as I've seen, I always like to have more weight on my geckos. That's my personal preference. Normally, for better egg laying, I heard that you should have geckos in a fit condition. Yeah, or if they get too fat, you put them on diets and stuff like that. So that's a little bit on weights on breeding leopard geckos. It really depends on the animal. If they eat well, like this one eats like insane, and that one eats slower, and this one's older, but it didn't grow as fast, but this one's younger and grew faster and eats really great. I know that this one can do it, and now that this one's up to weight and it's eating well and it's doing well, I know that this one can make it as well. So it really depends on how your leopard geckos are going and how they're doing with feeding and weight. So weight's a big key factor in breeding leopard geckos, and you really need to judge it. It's a judgment call if you think it can be done or not.